Hello, welcome. Thanks to you guys. I'm here today in Bellatini Art. Um, we are going to be working in this, I'm going to call her old fashioned. She's not really old fashioned, guys. She's just old to me because I have had it for like maybe 4 years. I don't even know. But from Amy's and tell me she's going to be here anytime, I think. Hi, love. Going to be here any second, but Amy's travel and color, I will get it. I apologize, Amy. I should have been prepared for that. But we have decided that Amy's travels and colors. Thank you. There you go. There she is. She needs to wave at the crowd. We've been kind of talking behind the scenes, and we wanted to kind of little like skin color project, and we all have our own ideas of what skin color should be. So that's not the lesson we're going to do today. What we're going to do is learn shadowing and learn how to do bases the way I do it, not necessarily the way you need to do it. So yes, hello everybody. Welcome Amy. Welcome Lori. Hello my Sarah. And I did decide, my friend, since you have gouache, I'm going to work with gouache also as my base. It changes the way I will color in the end. It will change the look of my my skin color, my skin shading, shadowing, and my technique is what I'm trying to say. But what we are going to learn is how I do it. And so hopefully you'll enjoy that. And if you do, fantastic. I am here for it, happy for it, all the things. So I am going to work with Caran gouache today because it's a middle range. You know, it's not an inexpensive brand. It's not a budget brand. It's not student grade fully. It is in the world of art products, but it's not top of the line by any stretch. But it's accessible to all of us on Amazon, so I think it's a good one to kind of work with. Talking to a couple artists out there, or not talking to, watching a couple videos. So sorry for all the craziness. But they were talking about just different things about gouache and things, and it made me realize, sorry, we're not using that today. There's not a whole lot of stuff on the gouache world out there. Weird, that's a duplicate? What does that mean? What's a duplicate? Anyway, so we're going to work. These come in a big plastic layer, and it's a wonderful 10, but it's overkill for these. And I like to work in colors, color wells. I don't care to work in individuals. I like to bring my stuff to me rather than hunt and peck. So that's just how I work. Anyway, so if I can quit saying anyway. I have made my own watercolor skin color that works for me and how I do skin color. I can show you a couple things I've worked on recently, portrait-wise, out of coloring books. Where are you? There's one. is bizarre, simply bizarre. This is one of my books that I just kind of like to, it's old. It's very old. I'm really not good at flowers. I'm trying to grow on those. Oh, here it is. This portrait that I watercolored really, really, really inspired me to create my own watercolor color, because in coming up with this, I had to like figure it out. And I really didn't know enough to just be figuring it out then. I did, I think. I mean, I think at some level I did achieve it for me. Sorry, my camera, no matter what I do, it wants to, it's like losing its arm strength or something. I'm so sorry. I know this is annoying. I will get it together one day. There you are. So this is from very close up, I'm so sure, but this is all the way down. And I created this color from that. And then I also have another one. I'm not as happy with it. I may go back and kind of maybe redo it, or I don't know what I'm trying to tell you, because I'm flustered because I can't find it again. There it is. There's my other baby. There's another baby. So I did this one too. So that's that. So the portraits that today will not come out like that because we're going to use gouache, but that's okay. We are going to start by mixing some skin colors. And this is very basic, very basic. I can't go into color theory 100, but if you keep following me, asking questions, you know, we can keep learning together. I'm planning a size 8. My brush, do not judge it. It is so, I need to like decorate my brush handles so that they look attractive because they're really out of control. I need to do that. Sarah, let's do that one. Brush handles somehow. Your brush matters. Your brush absolutely matters. The tip of it matters. The belly of it matters. The type of bristles that you have, if it's synthetic or it's animal fur, animal, whatever. All of those things very much matter when you're painting. Now, it's not, please do not think that you have to have the perfect things to learn, because that's not the case. Eventually, as we get better, then we get the things that we know are going to help us get better. We just have to understand the basics right now. So I got my cup of water over here, and the first thing we're going to do, and Amy, if you're going to be making this skin color, you are going to have to factor in the type of skin color that you're planning to do, because that depends on all, you're going to be adding different colors and also different shading, shadowing. So I encourage you to get a reference picture and look at that for inspiration for the lines that you have. What the basic start of skin color is typically going to be a peachy color. So you're going to, and mine are dirty, so I'll clean them off so that it's a fair game. Okay. So it's at least a little bit better. And red. Okay, so this is where you're starting, is with yellow and red. And you're going to take, you got to remember, the base of this product is what makes it so vibrant right off the bat. Like, if I was to get watercolor out, unless it's a super premium brand, you probably aren't going to see that much pigment on your palette for just that much. And then you're going to take some red. Okay, technically you need pink. Okay, so you're going to come in here and drop a lot of water in here and add just maybe a wince of purple. Start slow and just, you've got all the paint in the world. If you have to mix and you're like, that doesn't work, start over. Okay, start over. Don't expect to understand right away. So take a little bit of the yellow and a little bit of this. I mean, I'm talking a little bit. Grab a little bit of that purple. It's going to look over here a little bit. And you're going to start mixing it into the yellow. So we're going to be adding to the yellow. See, it's starting to mix up over here. These are beautiful. That's why you use all this stuff. You're going to use all of this because you're trying to create a palette from this. See what happened? I don't care. You may be discouraged by that right now. Just wipe it away. Don't let it keep mixing. So now I've got like this almost like yellowy, mustardy kind of color. It's not what I'm looking for. You see this right here? That's closer to what I'm looking for. It's bizarre because these are going to dry lighter than what we paint them as, or vice versa. You know, you got to understand your products. So I'm over here going, cool. I'm going to leave that. But one thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of green to my palette because we're going to need it. Not right now, but we will. And you see, I'm very much only using a minuscule amount. So I've got red, yellow. So it was red, yellow. I've now mixed in here yellow and red. We know that makes orange, right? So that's fine. Leave it. You can mix it. You can create another little color world over here. It doesn't matter. But now we're ready on a small level of paint to get ready for our base. So the picture that we painting today on my side of this is this portrait. And we have two different like skin areas that we're going to need to concentrate on in here. And matching any type of skin to anything it's rough. Something is on this page. I'm going to do the other one. That doesn't make me happy. Okay, like that. This one will be easier to learn because it has less skin stuff. So my to do, Amy, is I'm going to come into this and I'm going to lay down water where I feel like I want my shadows. I'm going to go in with the dark layer first. So, and I am, how do I get this over? Is this going to work over here maybe, perhaps? Okay, that's going to be work. So I have this color mix over here that we talked about. It's very peachy. It's pinky peachy. I'm going to add just a little bit more yellow to that. She's a little bit too pink. But I need enough so that I can get all the layers in. This is a very, 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 it is a wet brush. You are going to be painting wet on dry at this point, but you have a pretty saturated brush, but you're not going to keep all of that water in. You need to kind of bounce out, and that's why these round brushes are the best for me, because I feel like I have like so many tools in this one round brush. So we have to, oh man, we have to decide where our light source is coming from. And today her light source is coming from right here. Right, let's see. Let's see if I can make this happen. Let's see, let's try it this way. Because this is really honestly where people get really confused where to add lighting and shadow. I do too. I still, my brain doesn't always compute all the things. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I have my light on. And if this was a shadow, anything in here that is lighting up her face, all these other areas that my hand are covering, those are shadows. Those are darkness. Like, so around this area right here where those dark, you just have to remember that that is dark every single time on every single one. I shouldn't say every. It's often, okay? So we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna come in, starting over here on the eyebrow. I'm barely like wisping the page. I'm gonna come in, and it looks so dark at first. I'm just like, oh, hallelujah, this is like crazy. And I'm gonna go up in that hairline, but I'm not, you see how I didn't, I trail off, trying to avoid lines of demarcation for my future, the future me, okay, in this. So I'm just following this hairline of the places. Is just imagine this hair is dimensional. It's sticking out. It would have an actual cave in there. It's okay to put this color up in the hairline a little bit. It's okay. This is a very neutral base. This isn't going to bother your hair color later. If anything, it'll help to build it. So I'm pulling this towards where this beam of light would be attacking her face, if you will. So her hair on this side seems to be coming up more and a little bit less over here. And I can see that because the artist told me, here's her hairline. This hair goes up higher. This one goes lower. So that means this shadow is not going to come down as far as these shadows. Somebody could say, hey, Jess, why would you come down that far if the shadow is only right there, right? Because shadows don't just like cut off unless you are literally direct sunlight. So deciding the time of the day or the time or type of shadow that is lighting the face and all the things, that's how you get that dimension. So because I already did that, I need my brush is drying out. So on here, I'm going to pick up a little bit more. And I'm just pulling down. Now I stuck my whole brush in the water. Well, I stuck my brush to this part here. You're never really working with this, and all you're doing is filling up your well with more water, which means you're going to have more water to put on your page. Be very careful. This paper is like Amazon paper, and I'm watercoloring with it. So we'll see what happens. Over on my palette, you're going to see I keep mixing from the same color over and over again. And I decide, do I need a little more yellow? Do I need a little more red? Over and over again. Every time you touch down, you have to refix your palette. Is that you have to be in control of the color that's going down and what you're making. Is it still there? Is that enough? So that's why I created my own, because that's so much work. Every time you're moving, it's like a dance, you know? So I'm going to just go in here and find these areas that would be a darker look. It's okay. I'm going to put makeup on her of some sorts. It's okay if this color's there. It's a base. And again, this is gouache. This is gouache. It is not, I'm sorry, guys, not watercolor. Get down. Get down. Go outside. Go outside. Sorry, 1 second. Get down. Puppy training is the hardest thing in the world. Let's keep going here. I'm filling in a little bit underneath the eyebrow because you're going to have darker shadows. And what we're doing is not doing anything but creating more shadows. So she has a deeper eyebrow there, comes in. You want to show that arch, leave it, and then feather back out. My stuff is drying out. I have a heater on in here, guys. You probably will not have to refresh your brush as much as I do. I'm simply need to be in the heat constantly, or shall I say temperature regulate. So mine dries out a lot more than yours will probably. Coming back in. So I'm letting every layer dry. Try to bounce all over the page where you need your highlights and your lowlights. Okay, so I added a little bit more low light to that. Right now, it's going to look tremendously dark. Tremendously dark. It'll feel so harsh because you're on top of that white paper. Trust the process. Trust the process, okay? So I'm just pulling this down so it feathers out. These layers are full of water, so as you're pulling this down, your layer is going to lighten up. So I'm just barely tapping that water, putting it back in, and I'm going to start. This is tricky. You want to leave these areas for highlights of cheeks. You want to leave this area for highlights of makeup or lighter skin color. If you're not putting makeup on them, that's fine. But you want to leave these areas. The nose is the trickiest part in the whole thing for me. That's where I go, oh, I start like maybe having heart palpitations. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I'll show you at least how I do it and how I get through it. So let's start up in this corner because that's going to be very dark, right? Very dark in these corners. And building the depth of my base is all I'm doing. The depth of my base. And what you do to one side, you have to consider the other side. So this side, I've already decided this side of her hair's like not pulled back. This side is. So she's going to have more skin exposed here and less skin exposed there. So this is going to go in a little bit thinner. So all I do is get a little bit more water in the same paint color. Swirl that stuff around. And here. Now, she's going to have a shadow from that piece of hair. Pretty dark here. So feel free to load up that brush just a little bit more. That's going to be a pretty harsh line over here. I just decided I'm going to bring this color all the way around because I'm wanting to create a base here so I can start pulling the cheek color down and creating that highlight and blush look. I'm going to skip over back onto this side because this side's too wet to work with. I got to give it time to dry. And this is how you can get through it without ripping your pages, and you can color on Amazon paper. And portraits are wonderful for this simply because you're not using a lot of water and you don't have to. It does depend on your style though. If you like a washed style, this might not work for you. There's so much to learn about watercolor in general, how to create strokes. But if you watch what I just did, is I took the belly of the brush and I pushed it back like this, and it smooths out these lines because watercolor and gouache are not permanent. They are water soluble, and they will they'll come back alive if you get them wet. So I'm doing that right now. I'm taking these harsh lines that I don't want and I don't like, and I'm pulling them out and in circles. But I'm not going to the part that's really wet because that paper is too tender. I'm trying to stick to the areas that are more dry when I'm adding, but I am adding a very small, and I mean small, amount of water. And please stop me if you have questions. That's why we're live today. So I need this area to be darker, but if I'm not careful, I'm gonna start tearing my paper because again, it's Amazon paper. So I need to let that dry and in an environment where it dries out pretty fast because I have the heater going. So I'm going to build around her nose. And I said this is my trickiest part. I have like only moments before I can not have that dog in here because he'll go get his big brother to tell on me. So I have no reference, right? I have no reference as to what this human's nose looks like. But I do know that if I put my finger here and here, it gives me some kind of shape. So if you're not confident, just draw out your finger a little bit. It's okay that the line doesn't stick perfectly. And this is no science. This is just how Jessica thinks in her weird world. And all I'm doing is setting a base. I'm not coming in and keeping those lines. I'm now going to take a water brush only, and I'm going to wipe slowly, but quick movements, and don't put too much water. That's the tricky part. I just completely went with water all the way down, and now I can't touch that till it's dry. So, and I did that because I know I have to move on to another area while this dries. But I really needed to get that line in there so I can start seeing a bit more symmetry. And I'm going to build up. Remember, this light comes down on her face. She will have a lighter spot here and a lighter spot here, and she's going to fade out dark. So her chin is also going to be a lighter light source. So I'm going to build up underneath that lip. That's that. And then she has this, the artist that drew this part, I personally on my lips have a deep kind of like crevice here. And I don't really feel it's necessary to draw that in because now that line is in my way, but that's fine. I'm going to pretend it's not there. I'm going to use my fingertip, make sure it's clean. He went and got his brother. And I just took that and moved it up because I'm going to use all of it. I don't know if you can see her nose is coming to life now, starting to come alive. Then you're going to take, and you're going to almost fine line this area. Don't be afraid to come into this area with some more of these like darker areas. Because you can wash these back. So just move around the mouth and up the mouth and around the mouth. That's what I do at first. And I leave it there. And I'm going to dip my, I wish I had enough space so that you guys can see how much water I dip too. I'll do that in the future. I'm cleaning some of the water. I don't know how this, they're probably dabbing off on their towel like this. I like to feel how much water is on it first, and I also like to reshape my brush sometimes. For this area, I pull my brush, might be not very conventional, but I pull my brush almost to where it looks like a filbert brush. And I take my color, and this is going to be a little bit darker because she has a light source coming down. So these very side areas here are going to be darker. And you're gonna push up. It's going to create more color on it because every time I'm lifting up, the pigment's falling down. I'm going to come back in and do that also on this side. And this hair rounds out a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit more right there. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So how's everyone feeling at this point? Are we stressed out about this portrait? Are we feeling like we could do this? Are you feeling like, oh my gosh, that's too much information to process? Where are we at right now? So let's look at these comments. Looks like Sarah saying she's good. Not too much conversation out there. So hopefully you guys are here and hanging out, listening, and learning some new things. I have no interest in water paints. Amy's on the phone. Okay. Well, thanks for being here anyway. So then we want to kind of close in this area. So remember we did this. You can kind of go like that and go, okay, I need a little bit of more here. And I'm going to need a little bit more over here. And I'm only doing that because sometimes I need a little guidance, right? And I'm just kind of building up this line because this line is going to be pushed out just like some of the others, but I got to get some depth in here before I do that. And I'm trying to get as much color definition as I can before I let it dry. And this side would have like a sloping shadow more. And this side too. Because that light's gonna hit it, just boom, you know. The one good thing I will say about, regardless if you like painting or you don't like painting, the technique I'm teaching you goes for every single medium. It's learning portrait painting, but you can paint with any type of medium. You can use pencils to do this. You can do anything. So I'm just building up some shadow in this area of the eye. And I'm starting to push it up towards the eyebrow. And I'm bringing some more color down from off the nose. And I'm just using this little baby tip, and I'm pulling it. Pull, 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 pull. And I'm going to tell you right now, Amy, this paper is the hardest paper ever to learn on this, ever. If you're very serious about learning to watercolor, you might want to consider getting some PDFs and getting them printed on better paper. Because your paper in painting is everything. If you don't have good paper to absorb the water, your pigment's just going to go like this. It's not going to sink into it and stay. So if you're very serious about it, then that's a different world. Oh well, I'm not. I can't do this, but I'm trying. Amy, listen, I'm here for you. And after this, I didn't learn this overnight. Nobody will learn this overnight. We have to give ourselves grace. It's taken me years to learn this. Please do not scare yourself thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do this. If you follow the process, you can do it. All it is muscle memory and understanding where colors go. And Amy, at any time, I'm happy to slow down for you, ask questions. And I'm telling you, if any of you have the question, I guarantee somebody else does too. So I'm happy to help this. I think, there's a lot of opportunity in helping people if I want to build community. And that's the community I would like to build, is being a helpful community and a non-judgmental community where people of all skill set. I hope somebody comes in here and shows me more than I know. I hope somebody wants to come in here and be like, hey, Jess, I see you do this. Try this. Okay, cool. I'm going to try it because I'm super hungry to learn. I'm super hungry and I'm anxious. And if this is too much, that's okay. We can keep practicing, Amy. This is my third attempt, LOL, but I'm going to post this. But you go, Jess. Hands down, you're awesome. This, but already done. You should have seen me in my beginning. I used to cry because I wanted to know how to do this so bad. It has always impressed me to see people painting people in general. So once you create your lines for here, you're literally just like you're coloring, you're going to come in and add those shadows. Amy, the biggest thing to learn at first is water to pigment ratio. Water to pigment ratio paint. That's what you have to learn at first. When you first learn to paint, period, that's the biggest and hardest thing to overcome and biggest obstacle. But learning to watercolor is a huge asset to your coloring adventure. Once I started learning how to do this, I became a better colorist. So I'm going to take the belly of my, bring this down I'm not shoving it into the page. I'm just kind of bringing it down because this is starting to have too many harsh lines that I don't like. So I'm just doing this feathering thing. Using the paint, the existing paint, to kind of fill in those areas. It's like a very light colored peach here. And I'm going to start doing that over here too. The other thing you want to do is have a heat gun on hand, because my paper is Amazon paper and it is rough. And as I dry it, it's still not fully dry. It's probably like 80% dry. This is now where I can start adding a bit more of the structure. I don't like her nose isn't lined up the way I want it. So I'm going to come in and build on that. So I got to mix all these colors over here. Get another peach color. And I need to sit in front and kind of decide, okay, that's the center. This is where I want my nose to bridge. Do you see how that changes the shape of her nose, of the bridge of her nose? Huge, right? I thought. I see it. And I'm just following these lines up. Now, she's getting a little bit too red for me. That's okay, because I'm going to come back in adding a little bit, and I mean a wince of amount of yellow back to my palette. You see how concentrated that is? That's insane. Okay, so I'm going to add a watered down amount of yellow. And Amy, go back and watch this a few times. Let it you know, at least that first couple 30, 40 minutes of the video there. How do you decipher how much paint goes on the brush? Excellent question. You decide how much paint you want on the brush to determine how transparent you want the paint to lay on your page. Let me know if that translated. So in these areas right here where she's a little bit more red-orange, I'm going to add a little bit of that new layer of color with more yellow in it. It's even okay to go in with a lot more yellow because we can blend this all back out. Now this is harder because we are on an Amazon paper. If I was on like Arches, I could do this 20, 30 times to build the layers. I don't know if that's true, maybe an exaggeration, but you get my point. Okay, it's hard for me not just to move into the next process because watercolor painting is all timing. Too much water, not enough water. Too much water, not enough water. Moved it too fast, didn't move it fast enough. I am going down here like this, and I'm going to use almost the belly of my brush, and I'm going to wipe it. Just wipe it. Leave the tip of that nose white, right there. Leave it. She's got a cute little button nose. Let's let it be cute. I'm going to take some of these colors. I'm going to brush it back up. And I'm talking light as a feather. Light as a feather. It's annoying almost to feel like you're not making any progress, any movement. I can't see it coming to life. You're used to bold colors. Remember, this is a base. It could be your portrait. You could go as in depth as you want, but this is technically just a base. So I need it to be heavier over here. It's too high. So my paper's getting wet again because it's been wet. The more you put water on it, the more the less it will absorb. So you just got to get rid of it. So building layers, less pigment, more water than straight ink. Yes. So to answer that, yes, Sarah. There's water and pigment. Okay, and I don't want to get into the science of watercolor unless you guys need to know that. And that sometimes helps you understand what you need to do. That's why I went on the journey of making it. So I was like, I don't get this stuff. What is it? You can make it. Let me make it. By having one color like this, all this is doing is pre-making this color that I was making here so that you don't have to do all this. But here's the reality. I don't really make this for me ever. I'll use this as like highlighting color, make this deeper. I know what my pigments are, right? But this is a beautiful, beautiful dark base. If you want a light base to start out with, it's all it is the base color I created. And then I'm always going to add these other colors to my portrait, no matter what. So if I make this color, it doesn't matter. I am always going to start off with this color. So I'm just going to go in here and move my brush around. And so that's the basics of making skin color and also the basics of where to start applying your shadowing. And it can be as in depth or as simple as you need it to be. Doing portraits to me is just the same for me as putting on makeup. And honestly, you know, skin and makeup and all that stuff, it's not going to come natural for everybody. Not everybody enjoys it. So I relate it because I enjoy those things. The angle and what way you swipe your brush has everything to do with it. See, I'm pushing all this around now. It's going to start softening out this side. The forehead is always very intimidating for me because I feel like it's a big space. You guys have any questions? I appreciate those thumbs up, guys. I truly, truly do. I'm going to build around this chin. I'm going to give her like a defined chin. Not too much. I don't want it to look like manly. You know, I don't want to give it male features, male strength in him. I'm trying to soften it. And I'm pushing up because she would have some sort of shadow here, right? She's not old, so it's not super, but there's some definition there. You find one shade harder to work with than other shade hue. Yellow. Yellow is like my nemesis. It's such a stubborn pigment, and it is a very strong pigment. And you're very careful with how much yellow you add to your coloring. So I'm adding actually a little bit more yellow to this base because I want to soften some of these shades and make them a little less harsh. And I did, again, I turned it almost into a filbert brush where it's flat like beet. And I'm going to just brush down and around with a flat brush. You know, we talk about coloring this way or coloring this way. It's this way right now. And you're just coming up to those lines. Leaving that shadow, leave it. And feel free to, you know, come back in. Move those things around. It's wiping, you know, there's so many videos on how to watercolor. And please, you know, help yourself to the internet. It's free. Hey, enough. I'm going to pull this shadow a little bit down more this way. And give that time to dry a little bit. My brush is too wet from doing that. So I'm coming in again and I'm pulling my brush, right? And I'll get it wet again. I'll keep getting wet, but I'm going to keep the shape. And I'm going to come in again with that yellow base and pull up. Okay, same thing I'm going to have to do over here on all of the other skin. And I wanted this base to be darker. If I wanted the skin to be lighter, I would just lighten up the colors. I was looking for like a warm caramely skin color. And again, I haven't done any shading with pencils. This is a very basic base. I'm going to come in with more depth up here and more yellow. So I just gained a little more yellow. I'm not going into my color here with my yellow. I'm going to put my yellow here, and I'm going to add from here over here. That's too much. That's too harsh. It's very hard to watch paint dry. She's looking okay, but it's scary. Yeah, it's scary. Do you know, before we came on here, Amy, I was petrified. Oh, gee, that's hot. How that thing's hot. Calm down, Jess. Calm down. Okay, I'm gonna take this color up here, and I'm gonna come in because I gotta now. She's unbalanced. She's dark down here and light up here, so I gotta come in and rebalance her. And the paper is dry again with layers underneath it. So all it's going to do is build, build, build. Build, 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 build. If you use a light, soft, sideways brush rather than a tip, try not to do the tip. The tip is where all your pigment hangs out and it's going to drop it down. Don't leave it there. You got to move fast. You have to move really fast because it's going to keep those lines there. So you're going to move, 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 move in a circular pattern. And all you're doing is killing two birds with one stone here. You're getting rid of all of that, those lines, those crazy lines. My brush is dry. I spent all my water. I spent all my pigment. Guys, the dogs are going to get loud in just a second. So I'm going to turn this on while that is getting loud out there. You hear Mama? Oh my goodness, what is that?
It's the ocean water.
Ah, that's so good.
Oh, no, we're not having a repeat of this.
Oh. Get down. Get down. Holy cow. You're going to have to pick him up. He's being super high.
Come on. Let's go.
Come on. Easy. Easy.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay. Love Amazon paper, right? But we can do it. That's my point. We can do it. Can do it. She's super, super, like, to me, a little Oompa Loompa right now, right? She's dark. Too much caramel is what I'm trying to say. So I'm not going to do the neck right now because this is a whole lot in itself. But what I can do is, because I promised Amy that I would show her how to do a base and how I would pencil. So I'm going to grab some colors that I'm going to work with. I've got ivory from Holbein. I'm just working with Holbein tonight for no particular reason except for they're in front of me. Warm gray, maybe. This is I can't read everything. Something brilliant. And let's with this for right now. Okay, so let's move this out of the way and concentrate on this. We might add the salmon pink in there too. Get these pencils nice and sharp because you shouldn't be, trying to achieve certain things with a dull pencil. It's just not going to happen. I probably will need a light green and purple at some point. Because every skin color's shadows are going to be a different color. It is very in-depth, my friends. You don't have Holbeins, so what? Go use Crayolas or whatever you have and just find something that's like similar. We're not trying to create, we're not being commissioned for this. We don't have to be perfect. Okay. So I want to immediately go in and kind of lighten up these. And that gouache, all it did is create a fantastic tooth to this otherwise known as rotten, horrible paper. I've been working with this paper for so many years now that I feel like I've gained the right to understand that I really don't like it. But it's okay. I keep using it because these images are worth it, right? So you can see that this pencil is literally just softening up everything. This is ivory. Softening up everything. Can you guys see that? Amy, there are 1 million ways to do skin. Every single thing we do is our own mark and our own beauty. I feel like art is your true signature. Please try really hard to give yourself grace because I am still learning how to do this every single day. I am only here trying to do how I do. So I have this gray pencil. I have quite a few colors here. Purples. Purples are going to make this look even more red because it's got such a red base underneath, and I don't want to make her any more like caramel. So I'm neutralizing it with a warm gray base. Dun, 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 dun. I have a Top Gun song in my head for some reason. So, Lori had mentioned that she doesn't care for painting. I respect that. I was scared and petrified of it for a lot of years. Forget that. I wasn't going to do it. But I have very sensitive hands, and it helps with those people that have like arthritis and has sensitivity to your hands to create a faster base so that you don't have to color as much and for so long. And besides the beauty in it, that is a reason why I do it. See, harsher lines, softer lines. Harsher lines, softer lines. I will come back and soften them up. What I need this side to be darker because her hair comes up more. There's more shadow in here. Super light. I have the pencil tip is now almost burnishing it, but so lightly. This one is that June Brilliant or whatever it's called. Start from the lighter area and work back to the dark so you don't lighten up your dark shadows too much. I'm going to look for maybe this one. I'll soften this stuff up. Yeah, thank you for pulling out the pencils because it's going to help a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't even touch the hair or thought of the hair. The hair is a whole different process for me. Hair is a little bit stressful for me. It's pretty, but it stresses me out. Tomorrow night, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Sarah might be running the camera tomorrow night. So if you guys wanting to join and hang out with Sarah and color with Sarah, she'll be live tomorrow night. So how was everyone's day? Tell me what you guys did. My mother is in the hospital, so I've been calling and making videos to keep. Oh, I'm sorry. It's so stressful. We will definitely keep her in our thoughts and our hearts. And you and your husband as well, and your family. Sarah brought home this huge drink. Huge. It's so good. I haven't even been able to say hello to Sarah yet. So, Amy, is there any gain anything from what we did tonight? Oh my goodness. My little doohickey just fell off my light. You see this? I have a very strange lag in my own camera. This gal reminds me of my youngest sister that I'm coloring right now. Just beautiful skin like this. You're on. Yeah, dog patrol. Thank you, Sarah. So Sarah told me I get to play with the light fast. So I'm interested in doing some skin color with those also. Perhaps I'll do a video with that. You wouldn't have said anything about the circle motion. I would have. Yeah. That's your key. Bingo. Because learning when to do soft circle motions or hard lines or flickering or feathering, that is your brain thinks artsy, right? Because you wouldn't be doing this, you wouldn't enjoy it, and you would have so much less success in it if. So I say learn when someone's first learning how to color, learn the basics. And I know that sounds so like, well, just learn the basics, Jess. But practice. Get some paper out. Get one pencil out. Learn like what these things do, and start envisioning how to incorporate that look in your art. That's what I did. because I couldn't figure out when do I make that a hard line, or when do I make that a soft line, or what does feathering out even mean? I have to flick the pencil? Like, what does that mean? Like, I was real stuck in the very beginning. I still feel stuck though. So don't let me fool you. So I'm just coming in giving a little more definition. I feel like when we do portraits, we're often like plastic surgeons that just put things wherever we want them. Using this ash rose. Softening up the skin here. Up on the nose. Round, 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 round. Circle, circle, circle. Because it's building up like this. And if you go like this, it points to a sharp edge. And you want this to round out as you go up. Circle, circle, circle. Up, up, up. Now I'm going to go sometimes circle this way. Sometimes I'll go circle this way. And I do that based on like the bridge, where the hump in the skin would be, if you will.